3-2 lead for Georgia Southern here going to the bottom of the 5th inning. As 3-4-5 due up for Georgia Southern against Brock Batty, the reliever for the Cajuns. Nick Lee, the starter, goes 3+ innings of work, but giving up 3 runs. First pitch to Matt Anderson, a called strike. Anderson 0 for 2 was involved in the crazy play back in the 3rd inning. Struck out but reached first on a wild pitch. That allowed the 2nd run to come home for Georgia Southern. A slow roller down the 3rd base line. Tough play by Wyndham. Gobble and will not be able to make the throw. As more than likely we're going to have to look at the bobble on the play. So it'll be an error on Wyndham. Has had the baseball, just couldn't get it from glove to bare hand. So an error allows Matt Anderson to reach base. It'll bring up Mason McWhorter, the cleanup hitter. First pitch swing fouled down the left field line. McWhorter an RBI single back in the 3rd inning, brought home the 3rd run for Georgia Southern. All 3 runs come across the plate in the 3rd inning for the Eagles. So we start off Sun Belt play here in 2018. It's fouled off at the plate, 0-2.
McWhorter so far was the only hit for Georgia Southern in this game, and it also brought home a runner in the 3rd inning, capping off a 3-run 3rd inning for Georgia Southern.
McWhorter, the Cumming, Georgia native. Breaking ball in the dirt. Moving up was Anderson. The catcher McKinnon can't find the baseball. Moving up all the way to 3rd base, so a 2-base wild pitch will put Anderson over at 3rd base with nobody away here in the 5th inning. As the defense failing both teams, as a couple of errors led to a run in the top half of the 5th inning. As we will take a quick look at it. Got past McKinnon. He got it on the left arm. Couldn't see where it got to. Once he found the baseball at the base of the wall, Anderson was already rounding 2nd, heading to 3rd. 1-2, breaking ball again, this time stopped by McKinnon.
Batty's starting to have some of the same control issues that Nick Lee had early in the contest. Lee threw a couple of wild pitches that brought home runners for the Eagles.
Big swing and a miss as the infield comes in for head coach Tony Robichaux. So down on strikes is McWhorter for the first out here in the 5th. That'll bring up Noah Searcy. Searcy has not had an official at-bat. Walked and was hit by a pitch. Infield stays in for the Cajuns. It's Matt Anderson over at 3rd base after the E5 and then a 2-base wild pitch. This is a Louisiana team top in the conference with a 98% fielding percentage. 1-0 pops out of the glove of McKinnon, but not far enough for Anderson to think about home. .257 average for Searcy, the freshman out of Jacksonville. Foul back straight towards us. The net's there, but the hand goes up anyway.
Force of habit.
It is. I have a feeling it'll never end.
Well, the baseball guy, he does things you always want to remember.
2-1 is laced to right field. It'll fall in front of the right fielder Ramos. Coming home to score is Anderson. As Searcy, big turnaround first base. But an RBI single from Noah Searcy, the freshman. His 9th RBI of the season. He has been a big part of the Georgia Southern offense the last couple of weeks. So we'll take another look. The fastball just on the inner part of the plate, but able to inside out the swing and poke it into right field. 4-1 lead, or 4-2 lead rather, now for Georgia Southern. It's Chandler Corley, the Armstrong transfer, will show bunt but pull back and take ball one.
That was a great hit by Searcy. Searcy slowly improving as the season moves along. And when I talked to Coach Rodney Hennon about these young guys and how they're progressing throughout the year, he just said that hopefully they'll settle in moving through.
1-0 misses high, 2-0. Corley's grounded out twice. Double play was the result in the second inning. But a run home in the inning for Georgia Southern. An unearned run against Batty after Anderson reached with the E5. It's 3-0 now to Corley. Batty about to throw pitch number 28. Here in the ball game, came in relief of Nick Lee after Lee walked the first two batters of the fourth inning. Sat down Georgia Southern in order after that. 3-0, center cut for a fastball. And Corley thought it was ball four, but not so. Scoreboard thought it was ball four, but not quite. 3-1 the count to Corley, the Martinez, Georgia native. 224 average, pair of home runs, 13 RBIs on the year. Batty looking to battle back from 3-0. Misses away. As now Corley will be awarded first base on the free pass, and runners on first and second, as Cole McKinnon will call time and go out to have a word with the lefty.
Only one out, a runner in scoring position, 2 runners on for the Eagles. They are in a great position to add on some more runs and to really make things more comfortable for Brian Eichhorn, who's more likely to come back on the mound for the 6th. Nobody in the bullpen yet warming up for the Eagles.
Both bullpens quiet as Jason Swan makes his way to the plate. Also out of Jacksonville, Florida. Former high school teammate Noah Searcy out at second base. Shows bunt. Off the outside corner. Looked like Swan may have offered at it, but not so, says the home plate umpire Jason Bradley. Head coach Rodney Hennon will call time and go down to speak to Swan. Halfway up the third base line, standing in the middle of the Sunbelt logo.
And Swan, even though he's a designated hitter in tonight's game, he has played at first base a couple of times when Mason McWhorter would go out to left field, that was his primary position last season. So you see that secondary lineup for Rodney Hennon's crew, with Swan going in at first, McWhorter moving out to left, and even having Christian Avant play behind the plate sometimes, other times it's Anderson.
Head coach Rodney Hennon still trying to find that everyday lineup with so many new guys, having to piece it together. It's a cold strike on the inner third, evens it up at a ball and a strike. Swan has walked twice in the ball game in the previous 2 innings. Walked in the third, came around to score the first run for Georgia Southern. Then walked and was stranded at third in the fourth. Bats here with 1 away, 2 on for Georgia Southern. Up 4-2 over Louisiana. Pickoff play back to second, and just in safely is Searcy. Hunter Castles on the wheel play, came around behind Searcy. Good communication, good timing with Batty on the mound. The 1-1. Pitch in the dirt, 2-1. Swan had 3 hits up at Mercer, none of which left the infield. So finding ways on base, any way, shape, and form. 2 on with 1 out. Here in the 5th. There's another spin back towards second. No throw made this time. There's nobody covering out at second. Just a peek back to Searcy. Searcy had the RBI single that drove home the 4th run for Georgia Southern. And he out at second. Chandler Corley just walked over at first base. 2-1. Breaking ball comes in, just missed off the inside corner. Swan thought it was much closer to him than it was. A good frame job by McKinnon behind the plate to try to get that one, but not so. .31 called strike on the inner third. We'll fill it up at 3-2. We'll do it again twice more on the weekend. Weather permitting, a 3 o'clock first pitch tomorrow, 11 a.m. on Sunday, due to the travel plans for the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. I'll tell you why that's important in a moment. First, a spin back to second. Last year, Louisiana, playing at Coastal Carolina, moved the Sunday time up, and I believe it actually was 11 o'clock, the first pitch from Conway. But ended up tied after 9 and went to extra innings as this one shot through the left side into left field. Being waved around third is Searcy. The throw to the plate will be cut off at third base, and Georgia Southern tacks on another one, as now 5-2 the score for Georgia Southern.
Well-placed hit into the gap by Jason Swan. Able to pick up his 6th RBI of the season as Searcy is able to round home. Here's another look.
Tried to come in with the off-speed pitch again, and Searcy able to get the bat head out in front of it. Or rather, Swan able to get the bat out in front of it, and Searcy comes home to score. That'll bring out head coach Tony Robichaux. No action in the Louisiana bullpen. So just a meeting on the mound again. Coach Robichaux handles his own staff. Going back to Louisiana and Coastal Carolina, ended up tied after regulation, went to extra innings, was still tied when the drop dead time. In the Sun Belt Conference, you've got a certain time because of so many teams having to fly to different locations. You've got a drop dead time that an inning cannot start after a certain time that's agreed upon by both coaches. So the time came, was still tied. So Louisiana and Coastal Carolina completely split the series.
Yeah, we're talking about a straight tie. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 tie. A dead even series there between 2 top teams in the Sun Belt Conference. That's one that you don't want to see result in a tie in the 3rd game. I mean, you look at Louisiana, who's been dominant in the Sun Belt Conference the last couple of years. Last season, Coastal Carolina was coming off that championship year in 2016. And some thought that those 2 teams would later meet in the conference championship that year.
Crazy things happen in the Fun Belt. The pickoff play back at first, not in time. Swan just able to get the oven mitt back in on the first base bag.
Just about every tournament in the Sun Belt, you'll see something you've probably never seen before. One being to the Sun Belt women's basketball tournament, where Georgia Southern and Louisiana ironically face each other in the opening round. That game went to triple overtime. Georgia Southern suffered a heartbreaking loss, losing 88-81 in that game.
Off-speed just misses inside. Had a crazy play in that one as well on a missed 3 by Georgia Southern. One of the posts for Georgia Southern, Haley Dias-Allen, tried to tip the ball and keep it alive and get the rebound. Tips it up, and it goes in. 1-1 to Avant. Backhanded by McKinnon to save it from going to the screen. 5-2 lead for Georgia Southern with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. Corley out at second, Swan over at first base. Jedediah Fagg on deck. Popped up into center field. Long run for LaHare. Charging on. Will set up shop. And we'll put it away for out number 2.
That's got to be a brief sigh of relief for Batty after giving up 2 runs here in the inning. Also walking the batter.
Jedediah Fagg will stand in from the right side. Corley out at second, Swan at first, Jedediah Fagg at the plate. 3 players that were not in Statesboro a year ago. Breaking ball as McKinnon has to go down to the shin guards, call for a strike.
And there is one positive to having a completely, pretty much a brand new team this season for Rodney Hennon. A lot of these guys are young, so the chemistry of these guys will increase and improve in years to come. And then give it a year or so, you'll have another veteran Georgia Southern team similar to what we saw last season.
Squirter down the first base line, foul. One of the youngest teams for head coach Rodney Hennon in his 19th year in Statesboro. 18 out of the 19 years for Coach Hennon has had 30 wins on the year. These two head coaches, Coach Hennon and head coach Tony Robichaux, we mentioned earlier, two of the best in the country. 0-2. Big swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch got Jedediah Fagg out in front, and that'll close the book here in the 5th inning. Georgia Southern does get a run. Actually, 2 runs come across the plate for Georgia Southern, as a RBI single by Noah Searcy brought home Matt Anderson. And then Jason Swan delivers the 5th run of the ball game for Georgia Southern, as Noah Searcy scampers home to score, as a 5-2 lead for Georgia Southern as we go to the top half of the 6th inning here from Statesboro.